Knox County Jail and the Blount County Jail. You know, a social worker might be in the Knox County Jail one day and the Blount County Jail the next day.
What percent success rate do you think you have?
I think that the sheriffs, if Sheriff Barong were here and Sheriff Jones were here, what they would say is that both of them want to have an accredited facility from a liability standpoint and from a quality of life standpoint. They want their facility to be accredited. One of the tenets of accreditation is to have behavioral health services available for people who are in your facility. So typically, people who are severely and persistently mentally ill are going to spend almost twice as long in the facility and almost twice the cost because of their illness, because they can't navigate the system because of their illness. And they typically have already run through all of their family. So it's a cost savings to the sheriff, to the citizens of Knox County, if they can reduce, if they can get that person stable on medication, work the court system in such a way that the judge is going to say, okay, this person is stable, they've got a place for this person to live in the community, and they can release them. The medication costs in Knox County are $500,000 a year just for psychotropic medication.
All right.
So any way that you can beat around on that in terms of people leaving that system earlier, then it's going to affect that cost.
Are a lot of those folks that used to be in Lakeshore?
Well, not really. I mean, when I first started out in this business, Lakeshore had 1,000+ patients. This year, when Lakeshore closed, it had less than 90. So a number of those people, Lakeshore was kind of the magnet. You know, as a metropolitan area, people from the outlying areas come to Knoxville because that's where the services are. So Lakeshore, or at least the social service system in Knoxville, was a magnet in a lot of ways. A number of those people who, as the institutions downsized, those people ended up on the street, a lot of them.
That's what I'm getting at.
That's exactly where they ended up. And so then, de facto, the sheriffs become the people who look after them because they get in trouble because of their mental illness. They won't take their medicine, they don't have a place to live, yada, yada, yada. Then they end up back in the criminal justice system where it's more expensive to take care of them than it was before.
So as you treat a patient, let's take a patient from the jail where you've got a contract. Does the state of Tennessee reimburse you in any way on treating a patient?
No.
Do you get any reimbursement for any of your patients that you got here from the state?
If they're eligible for Medicaid or Medicare.
Or if they've got any kind of insurance and all.
Any kind of insurance. We take commercial insurance.
You're going to go after that, I'm sure.
We do, but, you know, quite frankly, it's difficult to collect it. But we certainly try.
Mm.
So one of the ways that we've tried to be financially secure is to diversify our resources in any way that we possibly can. And it's worked well for us. But people who go to jail lose their state benefits. And so Don's going to have to help me with this, but I think that even when we know someone's going to be released, we can't refile their TennCare application until they actually have an address,
right,
and they're out.
Right, that's my understanding. They got to be out. They can't be incarcerated at all.
Right.
Before they can get TennCare.
So it's short-sighted, because if you know that inmate is doing well and is going to be released in 3 weeks, if you could start the TennCare application, which could take anywhere from 1 month to 6 months. But the earlier you start it, the better your opportunity is to find someone to care for that person when they get out.
Mr. Chairman, could we ask Don just to kind of go through, take us through an example of where Judge Collins might release someone to go to Centerpoint, which is an inpatient 30-day program, and then just take them through the steps.
Okay.
How long, and then what I would like to address is how is that paid for?
Okay.
Okay.
We go to court.
Let's come up here.
We go to court. Public defender, most of the time, 99.99% of the time, the public defender will approach us, come to us pre-trial most of the time, and say, "I've got Joe coming into court today, bad drug problem." We know probably 90-some-odd% of the people in that courtroom's got a drug problem. It may say theft, it may say whatever in the crime beat, but it's a drug problem. Most of the time, it's a pill problem nowadays. That's what it is. That's what we're
The people
dealing
in the
with.
courtroom.
Do what?
The criminals, not the people in the courtroom.
Yes.
Yes,
Some,
thank you for
maybe,
clarifying
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure.
Yeah, and that's where we are. So the attorney comes back, usually talks to Tammy, because I tell Ray, he's the clinical guy, I drive the car. Basically, is what we do. Tammy will get in, and she'll start interviewing this person, talking to this person. We do as much as we can pre-trial. Okay? We go to court, attorney general, public defender, they'll get it in the plea agreement, judge agrees to it in court, get a bed. After so many days in jail, they can go. And sometimes he'll say they have to do 30 days, sometimes they have to do whatever. Then we'll start working on a bed. We try to facilitate it to where we get them out as close to that minimum time as we can. Enough time for the fog to clear just a little bit, but enough time to get them out into the facility also. And then we got to talk about funding source at that point. And we'll call Centerpoint, for example, and say, okay, we got this person, we need to get them on the wait list. They'll do a phone screen on them. They've allowed us to do they've given us their screen that they fill out, and we can fax it to them. Then we'll start talking about, are they an ADAT, which is a DUI funding source, or they'll be a granted person, which if they have no insurance at all, they can go onto a grant. The grant will pay from 21 to 28 days inpatient services. Once we get the bed aligned, we know what we're doing, Judge Collins will sign the order. Tammy get them out, we'll drug test them, make sure they're clean coming out of the jail. Put them in the car and take them. Reason B, let me stress something real quick, because there's 3 entities we're talking about here. We're talking about rehab, the 28-day rehab. They also provide us a service of detox, which is different than rehab. Ray could talk about that. Detox is a medical thing. Rehab is an education thing. Okay? Detox is a medical system where if somebody's coming off a drug, they're going to die. They need to be supervised for 5 days or so, 10 days, until they get medically stable to go into the rehab facility. Rehab's going to take somebody that needs to detox. So, Centerpoint has a detox wing plus a rehab wing. The detox numbers I can't get because it's hard for us to get those. Rehab numbers we know because we physically take most of them. Detox numbers, some of them are referred by the emergency rooms and different entities to go to detox. We got the person in jail. We don't need to detox them. They're already detoxed. Off we go to Centerpoint. Take them up, drop them off. They agree to take them after they do some medical stuff. They agree that they meet the program, put them in. 28 days later, we go back to pick them up. We bring them back to court, back to the judge. The judge will look at their aftercare requirements. 99% of the time, the aftercare is to go to IOP, which is 8 weeks.
What's IOP?
Intensive outpatient. Intensive outpatient treatment. That's usually 8 weeks. That's Monday through Thursday, I think now. It's 8 weeks. The judge has been, most of the time, will put them on house arrest at that point to go to New Hope for IOP. Then we try to hook up with Ray and we communicate back and forth how they're doing, what's going on, and we follow them through all that. Once they get through the IOP, then they're off back to probation. They come back to court to release from house arrest back to probation. Hopefully we never see them again. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't.